Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities. I'm talking with Joel Osment about his new show, Future Man, and one thing I did notice is, damn, you can grow a good beard.
I was surprised too. That was one of the reasons I sort of let it get so long. I was like, let's see where this can go.
Was that written into the script, or were you just like, this is going to be my character?
No, it was what I came in with, and I was doing Silicon Valley at the same time. So there was some continuity that had to be kept fresh for both shows, and we were able to work around it. And I think it ended up adding a really bizarre part to my character in Future Man that may not be replicated in time for season 2. Who knows?
Okay, so this is a question from one of our fans, Nick Halst, and you've had such an amazing career. I mean, a lot of child actors that have the success that you had can't really bring that into their adulthood and kind of duplicate that success again. You've done that. Congrats on that. What has been the biggest challenge for you growing up in front of the camera?
I think the trade-off of privacy with the opportunities that the business gives you can be kind of a challenge. It's one that but it's one that we do willingly because we get to do this awesome job. And beyond that, somebody said this weekend, I forget who the quote is from, they're like, every time a movie gets made, it's a miracle. It's so difficult to get an idea from the page to screens and for people to see it. It's always a challenging business, even for the people like the big names making this show. Getting a project from inception to people seeing it is a really tough challenge, and so it's something to celebrate every time it happens. And every time you succeed, you have to start from zero the next time with the next idea. So that's just the nature of our business, I guess.
You started at such a peak. I mean, your first film was Forrest Gump, and you played Forrest Gump Jr. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. But then you but then you also work with Bruce Willis. What was it like working with those two just legends?
I remember even as young as I was on Forrest Gump, the impression that Tom Hanks made on me of how focused he was. It was the first time I'd ever been on a movie set, so it was a crazy environment, and a first experience there. But Tom always had the script in his hand, was always studying, was always very focused on the character he was playing. And that certainly left an impression that stays with me to this day. And with Bruce, it was, I was a little older at the time, and it was just how generous he was doing an entire movie with I think I was 10 at the time, with a 10-year-old, and doing all the off-camera stuff and rehearsing and all that stuff. It was very generous of him, and I think that the movie succeeded because of people doing things like that on the set.
Who was the better actor between the two?
Oh, I couldn't compare them.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get an answer there.
Yeah, it's tough. We're used to like an award show mentality with everything, but when you think about it, comparing one performance to another or one actor to another, it's a tough thing to do.
And at this point in your career, you're such a seasoned vet, and we talked about your success from being a child actor to where you're at now, and you've been in some really cool things, Silicon Valley you mentioned, and now Future Man, and just your resume is amazing. And I mean, I've also read that you don't want to become commercial. You want to continue to just try to strive to be a better actor, and you kind of look at Jodie Foster and Kurt Russell as some examples of that. What makes you want to do that, as opposed to maybe just going with what's easy and what's just the easiest route?
I guess for me, with even keeping considerations of what's commercial and not commercial out of it, it's just been focusing on the characters that I can play and trying to have the biggest variety there. All the actors that I admire and have looked up to, since I started working, are ones where they, I think a goal of mine would just be to look back at the end of my life and to have had a really diverse group of characters that I've played. So yeah, Jodie Foster has definitely always been an important inspiration to me, and she was personally very kind to me the few times that we met on the awards circuit back around the year 2000. And her advice to me was just, everything else is all secondary to the work itself. That's why we're in this business, and that's stayed with me to this day.
What do people recognize you from these days? And when people say I see dead people, do you have to punch them in the face? I mean, what do you get people coming up to you and recognizing you from at this point?
For the last couple of years, the beard had sort of worked as a disguise, but that's been ruined now, I guess, with this and Silicon Valley and everything. But it's been Silicon Valley a lot this year, which has been really fun because I was a big fan of that show even before being a character on it. And it was funny when we did the press tour for that in New York. People were coming up on the street going like, oh, like I'm in business, like let's get a photo of us shaking hands. And I was like, my character wasn't somebody you'd want to be in business with in the show, but it was still something that people were excited about. So yeah, that was fun to be a part of.
Yeah, and from what I've seen in Future Man, your character has a little bit of an edge to him as well.
He does, yeah. It's really, really fun to play the villain in a show like this.
And it was really cool also to see that Seth Rogen is one of the directors. What was it like working with him?
They're terrific. I mean, Seth and Evan and Kyle and Ariel and Ben Carlin and just the team that has to put a show this complicated with so many different designs and set pieces and time periods, and to think that they're also doing Preacher and these other shows at the same time. I mean, they're just really impressive people to work with. And it's hard to be funny on a consistent basis and to be quick and to be coming up with things, and they're just, excellent at what they do.
One thing I thought was really cool about the show is kind of the throwback to old films. I think I saw some Pulp Fiction in there, and there's definitely a lot of Back to the Future.
Yes, yes, there is.
What's your favorite throwback?
It's hard to say because there's even like little moments where we saw the opportunity to do weird callbacks to things. But I think the Back to the Future stuff is the stuff that made me laugh the most. There's a line that Wolf continually says about how messed up time travel is that's too vulgar to say in this venue, but that always makes me laugh because the characters are constantly commenting on how crazy time travel is. So we sort of entertain that meta dimension.
And when your character said Butthead, I mean, that was pretty classic, too.
Yeah. That's an iconic line from Biff, and yeah, getting to come out with that in episode 2 was pretty funny.
So, Future Man, tell for the people who have no idea what it's about, give us a little glimpse into what this new show is about.
Sure. Josh Hutcherson plays Josh Futterman, a loser janitor by day and expert, globally ranked video gamer by night. And he's contacted by people from the future through the game once he beats it, who tell him that when my character and Keith David's character, who are scientists at the lab that Josh works at, cure STDs in the near future, it starts a chain reaction that destroys humanity. So Josh has to go with them and travel through time in order to stop us from doing that and ending the world. So, a pretty simple plot, index card plot.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me of Pineapple Express. What do you think?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they have definitely developed a feel and a style that is very evident through this. But what's cool is that by throwing the characters, you see the 40s, the 1960s, the 80s, the future, different versions of the present. It gets to be put into these really bizarre, out there circumstances. So, yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm. And for you set the bar so high, like I mentioned. Where do you go from here?
I just looking for the next great, role that's I couldn't have seen this role coming a year ago. So just looking for something that interested me as much as that. And I got to do a little bit of writing and directing in college. So that's the next big step for me is looking for an opportunity to do that. In the downtime between these shows, hopefully.
What about my co-host at the CW Twin Cities?
Sure, I could come by Twin Cities. Yeah, I actually like cold weather. I moved from LA to New York, so the winter doesn't bother me.
Have you been to the Twin Cities?
I have not been, no, but I hope to visit sometime. Yeah.
When it's -30, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
All right, Haley, thanks so much for being with us. I appreciate it. And Twin Cities viewers, make sure you check out Future Man. It's on Hulu right now. Thanks,
right.
Haley.
Thanks, man.